from the 18th and 19th centuries, pouring of chapels, courtyards and cells. And to go down to the cave, we'll be walking down about 40 steps, which we'll be walking up again. And when we get to the bottom, the cave that we'll see is not where John lived. According to tradition, a Roman offered him his house for lodging, though somewhere down in the harbour. John was not imprisoned in the cave, but the whole island was the land of his exile. He was free to walk around Patmos. But he used to come up to the cave with his pupil Prochoros to pray. And it was on a Sunday, after many days of prayer, when John heard behind him a thunderous voice, as of a trumpet, the voice of God, so strong that it cracked the rock in three, as we believe, symbolizing the Holy Trinity. And the voice said, "Fear not, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. What you see, write in a book and send to the 7 churches." John turned around to see where the voice was coming from. He saw 7 golden lampstands. In the midst, one like unto the Son of Man, Christ, dressed with a garment down to his ankles. His hair was as white as wool, as white as snow, his eyes like flames of fire. His voice was like the sound of many waters, and from his mouth a double-edged sword came out, symbolizing the word of the Lord. In his left hand, 2 keys, the keys of the underworld and death, 7 stars in the other. Around him 7 angels, representing the bishops of the churches of Asia. The stars Christ held also represent the bishops. The 7 golden lampstands at his feet, the 7 churches: Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamon, Sardis, Laodicea, Thyatira, and Philadelphia. So to these 7 Christian communities, St. John sent the book of Revelation. Of course, at the beginning you've noticed it is written as 7 letters towards these churches, which have a report card of how they were doing so far. It's the last book of the New Testament. It consists of 22 chapters, and it was written in Greek, as is the whole New Testament, because that was the language most people understood at that time. It was the language of commerce. The easiest way for John to spread Christ's message was as if he was writing it in English today. It's the only prophetic book that we have from the New Testament. Difficult to understand because it was written in such a symbolic way. However, writing theological texts and symbols was common at that time. John wrote it in a way he believed the Christians he was sending it to would understand. But if the Romans managed to get a copy, they wouldn't understand. It talks about the end of the world, the second coming of Christ, the fight between good and evil, and the final victory of good. So even though it does talk a lot about destruction with very vivid images, the stars will fall like ripe figs from the sky. Well, even though it talks about destruction, it was a book of hope. Christ, through John, wanted to encourage the churches and all the Christians of that time in a difficult time of persecution. And it was a message that was meant to stand through the centuries. Don't be afraid. Everything will be all right in the end. And when we're inside the cave, we'll be able to see areas that are connected through tradition with John. So when we go down the steps, when we go into our right, that's where the cave will be. And we'll see a long cloth on the rock. You'll see that a desk is formed there on the rock. A gospel has been placed there. That's where we believe Prochoros wrote down the book of Revelation, dictated to him by his teacher John.